I'm joined now by Congressman Jared Moskowitz. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for being with you, Brian.
So we have some breaking news here as it relates to the Epstein files. I'm going to throw to a clip from your buddy James Comer.
Let's be clear. Democrats don't care about transparency or accountability in this matter. The evidence we've gathered does not implicate President Trump in any way. Public reporting, survivor testimony, and official documents show that Bill Clinton had far closer ties to Epstein.
All right, so that was James Comer saying that nothing to see here as far as it relates to Donald Trump, that the real issue here is Bill Clinton. So first and foremost, can I have your reaction to that?
Well, first of all, it's good to see confirmation of something I always knew about my friend James Comer, is that he can read at a ninth grade level. But I mean, here we go again. Comer coming out saying, I conducted an investigation, right? This was the guy who was taking, Russian disinformation and was using a Chinese spy during the fake faux Biden impeachment, which was so successful by Comer, right? So, yeah, Comer's looked at it. By America, really? Here we go. Everyone can sleep. Everyone can sleep at night. James Comer has looked at the Epstein files and he's concluded there's no there. Well, then guess what? If there's no there, guess what we can do, Brian? We can release it. We can release the files, James. Man, I love when you do these things to yourself. It's such first of all, I miss him. I haven't seen him in weeks. And so, yeah, look, if Trump is not in it and it's just Bill Clinton, then release him.
Right? Isn't that even more incentive? I mean, if it's Bill Clinton, look, I certainly have no allegiance to Bill Clinton. I'm not here to run cover for Bill Clinton.
So wait a second. All House Republicans and all Senate Republicans, the White House, President Trump, right-wing media are now just protecting Bill Clinton?
Yeah. Well, can I have your reaction to the fact that we are now in nearing week 4 of this shutdown, and that Mike Johnson has put forward a myriad of different excuses as to why he won't swear in Adelita Grijalva.
They keep changing.
Right. I mean, first it was this idea that it was the Pelosi precedent. Then it was this idea that he's looking forward to doing it. He just has to wait for the House to come in session. We can't do it in pro forma sessions, except for the fact that we already literally did it in pro forma sessions. So what do you make of the fact that Mike Johnson seems to be drowning in his own pond of different excuses here?
Well, by the way, you forget the first one he said, which is, we'll swear her in when she wants to.
Right,
okay, that was his first thing. And then she's like, I'm ready to be sworn in. And then he was like, wait, well, yeah. And then he was like, well, there's this pro forma thing. We can't do it. And then Democrats are like, well, you just swore in 2 Republicans during pro forma. And he's like, the Pelosi president. They didn't swear in a rep from Louisiana for 23 days. Okay, well, we're there, Mike. Right. And now there's this other thing. Well, we'll get to it, when we're back. Everyone knows the reason they're not bringing us back, okay, is because they're trying to avoid this Epstein vote. And they're trying to get Republicans to take their names off of that list, okay, off the petition that will force the vote. Again, you have to ask yourselves, why are they going through all of this? Okay, all of this. For months now, okay, using political capital, significant political capital, just to stop a House vote. By the way, just because the House votes on it doesn't mean the files get released. You still need the Senate to do it.
Right.
And yet they're putting all this political capital to stop it. I don't know. It's funny. Like, Speaker Johnson's like the Speaker of the House, but we don't have a House. Like, we don't have it. We're not even allowed to come back. Okay, which is elongating the shutdown, by the way. Usually in a shutdown, you force members to stay, which forces members to talk. I know that's bad, and make a deal. But now, no, they've sent us home. We're home with our families and kids, which I appreciate. But now, as a result, there's no pressure to get a deal, which is elongating the shutdown. It's hurting Americans. It's hurting federal workers. It's going to hurt air travel as we get close to Thanksgiving. Brian, I think there's a good chance that we could be closed, really close, up to Thanksgiving. It appears there's no exit at the moment.
Is this all not just an academic exercise, considering even if the discharge petition works and the Senate votes in favor of it, and the Epstein files are released, isn't it Pam Bondi's DOJ who has full control of what's in the Epstein files right now?
Hold on a second. I'll give you a step further than that, okay? Before we get to Pam Bondi, Trump could just veto it.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, unless
so the House
passes
it, the Senate passes it, and Trump just vetoes it.
But if there's a veto-proof majority, like going 10 steps down the line, and first of all, the notion that there's going to be a veto-proof majority full of Republicans who are willing to buck this precedent, I know it feels otherworldly at this point. But let's just humor the notion. Do you have confidence that Pam Bondi's DOJ is going to give up any files that in any way implicate this president, even if we do have a veto-proof majority of Republicans who are willing to sign on to this thing?
Well, first we have to find the desk that the original list was on. Remember that?
That's right.
The list is on my desk. And then it's like, there's no list. It's like, well, what happened to the desk? Did she even have a desk? And so who knows? No, I mean, now Trump is asking Pam Bondi for $250 million. So
yeah,
we are way outside of not just norms. We're way outside of imagination, right? Like if I had said to you 6 months ago, okay, that Trump would be tearing down the East Wing while simultaneously having foreign governments building ballrooms and corporations while simultaneously asking the DOJ for $250 million, you would have said, I mean, I know things are going to be crazy, Jared, but that's not going to happen in the first 9 months of the administration.
Yeah. Can you talk about what your Republican colleagues are saying about all of this? I mean, like, I don't want to play the what if Obama, what if Biden did this, but we all know what would happen if Joe Biden decided to dip his hands in the U.S. Treasury to serve as a piggy bank for himself.
Oh,
and yet, like, they're all publicly silent right now. So notwithstanding the fact that they are effectively validating the precedent where a president from either party can just use the U.S. Treasury as a piggy bank, notwithstanding that point, can you just give some insight into what these people are saying? Are they okay with it? Are they not okay with it? I mean, clearly nobody's coming out and saying anything because, God forbid, you say an ill word of dear leader, but anything that you're hearing from, is there ever going to be a step too far for these Republicans?
So first of all, we don't have to go backwards. Let's go forwards. If a Democrat got elected in 28 and tried to do half of the stuff Trump is doing, Republicans all of a sudden would find a conscience.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're against spending until they're in charge. Right? Yeah. So like we don't have to go backwards, just go forwards. That they would be jumping out of their seat if a Democrat tried to do half of this stuff. I mean, they were getting upset that Hunter Biden was painting. And so forget all that, right? And so, no, is there a step too far? I mean, maybe when Trump starts, floating again that he's going to run in 2028, maybe that's a step too far. There were a number of Republicans that talked about how that wasn't in the Constitution.
For now, yeah.
But other than that, Brian, no, there's no step too far. He got a plane from Qatar. Okay, that I thought would have been like, oh, that's a step too far. They're like, oh, he just needs a spare mechanical device to use. They're like tearing down the East Wing. It's like, well, he's a builder. He likes to build.
In your conversations with constituents, now that you've got plenty of time not to be in the House because Mike Johnson won't let the House come back into session because
Congress is optional. That's great.
Congress is optional. It's just a strong suggestion that you guys actually meet.
That's what our founders envisioned when they were like three separate branches of government. One of them will make part-time.
Yeah, that's right. In your conversations with folks, is anything seem to be resonating, even with folks? I'm especially concerned about like independents or Trump voters, but folks that you've spoken with, what seems to be the most resonant point? Because there's certainly a lot that's going on right now. We also may fall victim to the Steve Bannon model of flooding the zone with shit, and so like instead of everything resonating, nothing resonates. But there is so much happening right now, especially on the corruption front, especially on the trade war and rising prices front, especially on the farmers getting fucked front. And so, is there something that's especially resonant in your conversations with people?
So again, yes, I think the flooding the zone thing is working for them, right? Because it keeps Democrats in a state of constant outrage. And I try not to do that, by the way, even though I could be in a state of constant outrage all day long. I try to pick the things.
Oh, just come on in. The water's warm.
Yeah, I got to pick the things to be outraged about, because the problem is if you're outraged about everything, then you're outraged about nothing. Right, then there's no different lines of outrage. Right. There's no degrees of outrage.
You get outrage fatigue. And,
you get outrage fatigue, and everything's a 10. Right, the sky is always falling. So some of the stuff I don't take the bait. I don't go for. Right, tearing down the East Wing of the White House because it provides a nice visual. Different. But look, I think when you talk to voters, there are really two things that are resonating. One is the prices of everything is more expensive. Right, Trump said he would lower the costs, and that hasn't happened. Right, tariffs have made everything more expensive. It's a tax on the American people. And whether they figured out the policy of that, they see the numbers at the store. and they know they're paying more money. That's issue number one. Issue number two is healthcare. Healthcare is issue number two. They know healthcare is too expensive now, and they know healthcare is about to go up in November. They know those two things. Those are the things that are breaking through. And yes, it's expensive to continue the subsidies. And so when we talk about, hey, it's $30 billion to continue the subsidies, people would say, look, America's $38 trillion in debt now, a lot of it added by Donald Trump, as we know. We don't have the money. And you would say, well, we would have had the money if we didn't just send $40 billion to Argentina, because Trump's friends with the leader there. Right. And so that stuff is breaking through when you can explain that to people. Like, well, we did have the money and then Trump sent it to Argentina. This is the state of things, Brian. Like, we just had a deal in the Middle East, which I support. But think about this for a second. Trump was willing to sit down with Hamas and negotiate a solution, which I support. But he's not willing to sit down with Democrats and negotiate a solution on health care for the American people. That's how broken things are in Washington, D.C.
Do you anticipate that the Democrats are in any way going to capitulate on this issue? And by the way, I should just note for people watching right now, the whole shutdown is predicated on one major issue. That's Democrats are using what little leverage they have to make sure that ACA subsidies don't leave your health care doubling, tripling, or quadrupling as we head into 2026. That's it. So is there any sense among the Democratic caucus that there will be capitulation on this issue?
Well, look, I'm ready to open government. I've been ready to open government. I wanted to vote for a CR that extended the subsidies. So if they take the subsidies extension and put it in the CR, government will be reopened. I will vote for that. Okay. Yeah. And so there's a very easy solution out of it. In fact, this is something that has been discussed for 6 months. Everybody knew these things were going to expire, but Congress can't work unless there's an emergency, right? We don't do proactive, we do reactive. And now everyone's in their corners because, tough to negotiate with each other when, both sides say they're un-American, right? Tough to make a deal. And so right now, no one's talking to each other. No one wants to be the first to take a step. But Republicans control the House. They control the Senate. They control the executive. They control the Supreme Court. They have everything. Okay. And so this is their mess. They got to find a way out of it. They have our number. They know what we want to do. We want to lower the cost of healthcare for the American people. They know what it's going to cost. They've known for a while. They've decided to spend money on other things, add trillions of dollars to the deficit instead. But there's a really easy way out of it. And so we got to come back to Washington if they want to solve the problem. That's how you know the speaker doesn't really want to solve the problem. They like the situation they're in. They don't want to bring us back. In fact, they don't even want their own members back because they don't want their own members to talk to the press about maybe we should solve the problem on healthcare. And so, your guess is good as mine, Brian, when we're going to come back, when we're going to solve this problem. It's hurting a lot of people. State of Virginia already declared a state of emergency to feed federal workers at food banks. Think about how disgusting that is, right? That federal workers miss one paycheck and they're at food banks.
Those are those bread lines that Republicans kept warning about if Democrats got into power, that Democrats being in power would usher in communism and food lines and bread lines. And now that's exactly what we have under Republican control. I got to ask, the excuse that Mike Johnson's putting forward is all the Democrats have to do is sign on to a clean CR and then come to the negotiating table. We hear you on the ACA stuff. We're gonna negotiate with you, but first sign on to the CR. First, surrender all your leverage, and then just trust us, guys. We're definitely good for it. So would you trust the people who got us into this mess in the first place? Who were the ones to eliminate these subsidies in the first place? The party that eliminated $1 trillion in healthcare funding and then gave $50 billion back for rural hospitals as some little Band-Aid to plug the hole that they created. Are these the people that you're going to trust in terms of their promises that hey, all you got to do is give us a clean CR and then just come negotiate with us?
Well, first let me say, I don't think this is about leverage, right? This is about a CR that they put on the floor that didn't have the extensions in it. It's a policy debate for me, right? It didn't have the policy in it that I wanted, so I voted no. But they're in charge. They could keep government open. The fact that they don't have the votes means maybe they should talk to us and figure out what is the policy that's missing from that CR. This is also the people that said they wouldn't do CRs. They hated CRs. They voted against all the Democratic CRs, okay, that they were going to fund the government with 12 appropriation bills. Still haven't done it. These are also the folks that closed the government on purpose and told the American people they were closing the government on purpose over Obamacare. These are also the people who have said they're going to fix health insurance. 9 years, we're still in the concept of the plan phase.
Yeah.
Okay. And so this, for me, of course, there's no trust between the parties. They haven't talked to us in 9 months since they took power. Remember, trifecta, mandate. They don't need to talk to us. How's their mandate working out for them? Okay. And so they know what we want. It's not a leverage debate. It's a policy debate. We want a lower cost for the American people. Where's their plan, Brian? They don't like our idea? Fine. What's their idea? Why don't they take their idea and add it to the CR for an up or down vote? Why don't they do that? You know why they're not? They got no ideas. Still in the drawing phase, still in the draft phase, version 12. Okay? They're not interested in lowering the cost of the American people. If they were, they would put forward their own plan to do it.
Is there no acknowledgement by these Republicans that ultimately Democrats are trying to help Republicans help themselves? Like, the reality is, if these subsidies are not extended, 24 million Americans are either going to lose their health insurance or see their premiums double, triple, or quadruple. And it's going to be largely in states, by the way, that Trump won in 2024. Those are the states that have seen the biggest enrollment increases in the ACA, including, down south. We have states like Texas, states like West Virginia, states like Tennessee, states like Florida. And so is there no acknowledgement by these Republicans about the electoral implications of not allowing the Democrats to help the Republicans?
Oh, no. There are many members that are concerned about those notices that go out on November 1st. In fact, I think if you put the extension subsidies on the floor, it'll pass. It'll be a bipartisan majority. That's
so
why
what are we doing? So what are we doing here? Is it just Mike Johnson?
But that's why the speaker's not putting it on the floor. He doesn't want it to pass. Okay, because if he did, it would pass. So he doesn't want it, and that's.
But why? But why not? Why not? Why? What does Mike Johnson have to get out of this? Is he just?
I don't know. You're asking me to figure out what Mike Johnson's doing. I mean,
is it just that like Trump planted his flag here, and so Mike Johnson's job is just to massage Trump's ego?
Hold on. Let me break down House and Senate strategy. Let me break down Speaker Johnson and Leader Thune's strategy. When Trump says jump, we ask how high. That's it. It's super simple. If Trump tomorrow came out and said, extend the subsidies, there'd be a vote in the House, there'd be a vote in the Senate, subsidies extended. We don't have to guess what Johnson and Thune are thinking. They're just saying to themselves, whatever Trump says. Right now, Trump's not engaged in the shutdown. Okay? And that's why we're kind of listless. We don't really know where we're going. They've been threatening to cut Democratic programs as kind of a threat. It's not working because we're watching them tear down the East Wing of the White House. We're a little past cutting programs. And so that's why this is going on. But look, as we get closer to Thanksgiving and the FAA isn't working, which they're in charge of, and TSA isn't working, which they're in charge of, okay? I mean, Americans are going to continue to ask their questions about why won't Republicans make a deal on health care? Why won't they propose something on health care? Where is their proposal? I mean, Johnson hasn't even put a single idea on the floor and make us vote on it. Make me vote on it, Mr. Speaker. Make me vote on your plan on lowering health care. Couldn't even figure that out. You want to know why? Trump hasn't sent him a plan. Johnson can't come up with his own plan.
Last question here. Should members of Congress get paid during shutdowns?
The answer is no. Now, constitutionally, we have to get paid. I have sent a letter to administration, and they are withholding my pay because people in my office are not getting paid. So if they're not getting paid, I'm not getting paid. If the American worker is not getting paid for the federal government, I'm not getting paid. If our military is not getting paid, I'm not getting paid. But to be quite honest, the pay thing isn't going to force us to have a deal. We got to be in Washington. If the American people are captive to this broken system, then so should Congress. Congress should be captive as well. If the federal worker, the military, TSA, FBI, if they have to work without a pay, I should have to work too. Doing work in the district is work, but I should be in Washington doing real work, trying to solve this problem rather than being home. But this is all by design to make sure we don't have the Epstein vote and to extend the shutdown, quite frankly.
We'll leave it there. Congressman, appreciate your time.
Thank you.